Su jumis pasveikinti čia, Žalgirio arenoje. Antrą kartą gyvenime kasmetinėme renginyje Agile Tour Kaunas. Kas nebaigė kavos, galbūt jau to ir prisijungs prie mūsų, tai po truputį ramiai ir pradėsime. Taigi, techniniai nesklandumai. Įjungtas. Tikrinom 100 kartų, bet pasirodo 101 kartą neveikia. Tai Romai, tiesiog perjung skaidrę. Ką aš norėjau pasakyti, kad tiesiog šią konferenciją organizuoja asociacija Agile Lietuva. Tai yra visiškai savanoriška konferencija organizuojama pagal gairias, kurias pateikė Agile Tour organizacija. Tai irgi, kaip ir kilusi idėja Prancūzijoje, 2008 metais pradėjo organizuoti šias konferencijas ir mes pasiskolinom iš jų formatą. Tai yra žemos kainos bendruomenės, būtent išjudinami renginiai, kurie turėtų padėti skleisti kažkokias žinias, dalintis tarpusavį ir lengviau judėti į tą Agile technologijų panaudojimo kelią. Taigi taip. Štai čia matote visą organizatorių komandą. Kaip tikroji Scrum komanda, visi vienodi, visi lygus, visi dirba dėl vieno tikslo. Tai yra, kad jūs galėtumėm pakviesti čia. Ir vienas iš tokių žmonių, kuris tikrai labai daug mums padėjo ir tikrai daug skatino ir išjudino visą šitą renginį, tai būtų asociacijos prezidentas Vaidas Adomauskas, kurį norėčiau ir dabar ir pakviesti.
Ar neveikia? Ar veiks man? Per du prašau. Gerai, tai sveiki visi, ilgai tikrai netrukdysiu. Labai džiugu būti čia. Džiugu, kad pernai pirmą kartą Kaune suorganizavom šitą konferenciją ir buvo toks kaip eksperimentas, kas žino, kas nežino, kilęs kaip ir visos geros idėjos prie alaus bokalo. Susirinko 200 kažkur žmonių ir gavom gerą grįžtamą ryšį, kad to reikia ne tik Vilniuje užsislėpus daryti. Tai aš labai džiaugiuosi, kad susirinko šiemet vėl komanda, kaip ir Vytautas sakė, savanorių ir sukvietė jūs čia, sukvietė gerus pranešėjus ir aš tikiuosi tikrai išeisit išmokę, kažko sužinoję, ką galėsit taikyti savo darbe. Kaip jau Vytautas minėjo, asociacija yra 2 metai gyvuojanti, antri metai, bet iš tikrųjų veikiam neoficialiai jau 4 metus, nes pirmoji konferencija buvo suorganizuota 2010 metais. Ir mūsų tikslas labai paprastas, dalinantis patirtimi, patiems augti ir tobulinti tai, ką mes darom savo įmonėse. Tai, kaip čia ir minėjo, pats renginys irgi, matyt, kaina tokia sąlyginai maža, ne dėl to, kad čia kokybė prasta, dėl to, kad darom viską patys savo. Tai mus kartais palygina čia, sako, neduosit gražių marškinėlių ar krepšelių, bet mūsų tikslas paduoti gerą turinį. Ir aš labai džiaugiuosi, kad vis atsiranda savanorių, kurie tai daro. Kas mes esam, kad visi žinotume, tai yra Agile LT puslapis, kur galite rasti mūsų visą informaciją ir yra Google Groupsas viešas, tai kam įdomu gauti daugiau informacijos, tikrai patys užsiregistruokit ir gausit. Pagrindiniai renginiai tai yra 2 konferencijos. Pavasarį organizuojam Agile diena, lietuviškai į lietuvius orientuota, o rudenys jau didesnis toks renginys ir vienas Kaune, Vilniuje bus ir yra mokymai. Tai turbūt visi esate, žinot, matyt, tai prie čia nesustosim. Ką dar darom? Labai fainas tai, kad mes, kaip ir sakiau, kadangi norim mokytis vieni iš kitų, tai kiekvieno mėnesio paskutinį antradienį ir ketvirtadienį renkamės tie, kas naudoja Agile metodikas ir išsikeliam kažkokią temą ir diskutuojam. Tema dažniausiai iš anksto būna paskelbta. Tai būna arba atvira diskusija, arba kažkoks pristatymas ir diskusija, arba workshopas. Tai jeigu kam įdomu vieną kartą per mėnesį po darbo ateiti ir susitikti su žmonėm, kurie kažką panašaus daro darbe ir išsiaiškinti, tai mielai kviečiam prisijungti. Esam Lietuvoje, tai sunkioji dalis yra su lietuvių kalba, ne? Kaip verčiam produkto, pavyzdžiui, ownerį, product owner. Kas žino iš salės sėdinčių? Tai išverskit kas nors į lietuvių kalbą. Savininkas. Ne visai. Mes susitarėm, kad versim produkto šeimininkas. Ir vat yra tų kalbų, ne, tai kaip versti vieną ar kitą terminą, tai kad nustoti ir į mane kreipiasi daug ir studentai, kurie rašo dabar aktyviai darbus apie Agile projektų valdymą ar naudojimą. Tai yra sutarti vėl bendruomenį nusprendėm, kaip mes norim versti ir yra sudėti vertimai. Taip pat išverstas pats Agile manifestas ir principai ir ką tik šviežiai, man atrodo, praeitą savaitę, jeigu neklystu, paskelbtas lietuviškas Scrum gido vertimas. Tai jeigu ypač kas dirba su visokiais valstybiniais projektais, reikia tikrai lietuviškai rašyti, tai siūlau naudoti šitais žodinėliais. Pirmasis, kur yra šitas, tai dalis tų terminų pateko į Lietuvos projektų vadybos išleistą Lietuvos projektų valdymo terminų žodyną. Tai reiškia, jie netgi buvo patvirtinti valstybinės komisijos lietuvių kalbos, taip kad tikrai galima naudoti. Kas dar, kaip asociacija bandom judinti valstybinį sektorių, tai yra, kad ir valstybinio sektoriaus projektus būtų galima daryti iteratyviai, Agile metodais. Tai tam reikia pakeisti tokią gyvavimo ciklo valdymo metodiką. Jeigu kas dirbat su valstybiniais projektais, turbūt žinot. Tai mes 3 metus bandom ją keisti ir mums vis dar keičiasi. Jinai taip sunkiai, bet keičiasi, bet jau informacinės visuomenės plėtros komitetas prižadėjo, kad iki šių metų gruodžio pabaigos jinai bus pakeista. Įtrauks iteratyvius metodus kaip vieną iš būdų daryti IT valstybinius projektus. Žiūrėsim, kaip seksis. Bet kas iš tikrųjų buvo labai šaunu, tai gegužės mėnesį suorganizavom renginį valstybininkams, tai visokių ten sodrų, VMI IT skyrių vadovams. Ir pranešėjas buvo iš Jungtinės karalystės, irgi žmogus, kuris atsakingas už valstybinių paslaugų elektronizavimą. Jeigu jūs nueisit dabar į Gov.uk, tai jūs pamatysit, kad jie visus valstybinius projektus dabar daro iteratyviais metodais, jau nebe tuo tradicinio waterfallu. Tai buvo pasidalino savo patirtimi, kodėl ir kaip, sukėlė daug diskusijų, tai tikiuosi, kad irgi tai bus postumis valstybinėme sektoriuje pradėti ir ten taikyti. Turėjom ir projektą, iš tikrųjų pavyzdį Lietuvoje yra jau įmonių, kurie ir valstybiniuose projektuose pritaiko šias metodikas, tai tikrai nėra neįmanoma jau šiandien. Na, aišku, kaip tikra asociacija darom įvairių šiaip renginių, va čia buvo nuotrauka iš vasaros šios stovyklos, išvažiavom vienai dienai pažaisti lauko žaidimų, buvo vestuvės šalia, užtvėrėm kelią ir gavom daug saldainių, tai va čia rimtoji veikla asociacijos. Tai tiek turbūt iš manęs, tiesiog, kad trumpai žinotumėt, kas mes esame ir kas organizuoja, aš dar kartą noriu labai padėkoti visiems, tiek šitiems, čia yra praeitų konferencijų organizatoriai, tiek šios konferencijos, tiek tie, kas dirbo su vertimais valstybiniu sektoriumi, nes asociacijoje padarom tiek, kiek savanoriai padaro ir labai džiugu. Šiemet netgi aš pats, penktadienį tapau tėčiu, tai apskritai apmoku sąskaitas ir pakoordinuoju, o viską daro šitie žmonės, kurie organizuoja viską, tai labai džiugu, kad esame organizacija auganti didelė ir jeigu yra saliai, kurie turit laisvą minutę nuo to, kad dirba tik tai ir namie esate, tikrai siūlau prisijungti ir prisidėti prie to, ką mes veikiam. Tai ačiū tiek iš manęs, aš linkiu jums labai produktyvios konferencijos, tikrai pasidalins patirtimi, kiek mačiau programoje, geri pranešėjai, tai paklausykit jų, pagalvokit, paklauskit, nes mūsų tikslas dalintis ir mokintis vieni iš kitų. Tad to ir linkiu šiandien. Ačiū.
Dėkui Vaidui, atiduos gal pultą. Kalbant apie šių metų konferencijos organizavimą, dar vienas toks įdomus faktas, tas, kad per praeitą savaitę visgi turėjom 2 naujagimius. Vienas iš mūsų kolegų Stanislavas taip pat tapo tėčiu. Pirmą kartą, manau, galim tikrai jam paploti. Taigi, eilinį kartą laukiame skaidrių. Ta proga norėjau užsiminti apie dar vieną dalyką, kas atsitinka organizuojant įvairius renginius ar kažką naujo darant. Tai yra, sutinki kitų žmonių, kurie irgi kažką daro ir jiems reikia kažkokios pagalbos arba galima suteikti tarpusavę pagalbą. Šiemet tas dalykas buvo su keliais savanoriais, kurie taip pat dirba prie kitų projektų. Yra tokia Lietuvos samariečių bendrija, kurie turi keletą netgi vaikų dienos centrų. Ten vaikai iš ypatingai rizikingų šeimų gali praleisti savo laiką, laisvas laikas, pamokų ruošimas, kažkokios išvykos, ekskursijos. Na, tiesiog investicija į mūsų ateitį. Ir tie žmonės užsiėmė vieną projektą padaryti, tai yra Užuovėjos dienos vaikų centras gavo naujas patalpas, bet jos dėja yra ne visiškai pavydėtinos būsenos. Ir jie tiesiog paprašė pasidalinti su jumis šią žinią, kad yra daromi kažkokie darbai ir paklausti, galbūt kas nors galite ar norite prisidėti. Paprasti būdai, žinoma, galima pervesti pinigų. Savo dalyvio krepšelėje turite skrajutę, kur yra banko sąskaita, galite tiesiogiai finansiškai prisidėti, būtent prie šitų renovacijos ar bendros veiklos. Galima padovanoti statybinių medžiagų, galbūt liko likučių, galbūt turite daugiau, galbūt dirbate kokioje nors statybų bendrovėje, galite gauti labai pigiai, nebrangiai. Tai tikrai padėtų šiam centrui būti gražesniam. Taip pat, bekalbant su tai žmonėmis, šovė labai įdomi mintis, kad dauguma įmonių dabar organizuoja įvairius team buildingo seminarus, samdo brangius lektorius, daro įvairius komandinius žaidimus. O kodėlgi nepadaryti remonto darbų kaip komandinio žaidimo? Manau, tai būtų dar didesnis iššūkis komandai ir tikrai žymiai stipriau susiteambuildintų visą komandą, jeigu padarytų kažkokį reikšmingą darbą visuomeniai. Tai vėlgi su tom mintim galima toje skrajutėje esančiais kontaktais kreiptis į žmonės, kažką organizuoti, kažką galvoti. Tikrai, manau, kartu susėdus, kaip Vaidas sakė, prie alaus bokalo, labai gražių, įdomių ir linksmų minčių kyla. Ir, žinoma, Facebookas yra puslapis Sukurskime Užuovėje, tai galima ir tenai sekti kažkokį progresą būtent to projekto. Dėl konferencijos logistikos. Kiekvienas ant savo pakabukų turite kitoj pusėje šios dienos programą. Programa įsiskirsto į dvi dalis. Dabar mes esame atidarime, opening, po to bus mats person. Ir tada turėsime dvi sesijas. Viena sesija tęsis čia, galite sėdėti likti čia, arba galite pas mėlynuosius žmonės, tai yra pas Simoną Razmaną ir pas Karolį Valicką, užlipti į antro aukšto salos konferencijų salę. Čia tik išėjus, iškart bus posūkis į kairę, tai kad nepasimestumėt, ten yra durys, užlipat į antrą aukštą, labai gražus vaizdas pro langą, tai tikrai siūlyčiau visiems apsilankyti. Po to uždarimas ir prizai. Grįžtamasis ryšys visam Scrum, Agile metodologijai visur yra bene svarbiausias. Tai yra parašydami, kas buvo blogai, kas buvo gerai, įvertindami mūsų darbą, mūsų kaip konferencijos organizatorių darbą, gausit šiek tiek dovanų ir iš mūsų. Tai yra pora knygų, marškinėlė organizatorių, taip pat labai gražus paspirtukas, kurį galite pamatyti ten. Ši konferencija, kaip minėjome, yra tikrai mažos kainos ir be stiprios ir labai didelės rėmėjų pagalbos nebūtumėm nieko padarę už tokią kainą. Tai yra labai džiaugiamės, kad galim jūs pakviesti į tokią gražią vietą, pavaišinti kava, sukviesti tokius žmonės tiek iš Lietuvos, tiek iš užsienio ir mes tikrai esam labai dėkingi visiems šiems rėmėjams. Tai yra Call Credit Information Group, Equinox Europe, DevBridge Group, Visma ir mūsų draugui Blue Bridge Code. Taigi, informacijos tiek. Tikiuosi, kad patiks konferencija ir įsinešite kažką naudingo ir įdomaus. Sėkmės. Okay, maybe some small introduction. Here is Mats Persson. I don't know if it is correct pronunciation of your name.
If it's correct? Yeah, it is. I mean, in Lithuanian it would be Matsas Personas, since it's Facebookas and everything. You put an AS at the end. So there it is. Thank you. Yeah,
thank you.
I take it from here, as we say. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Vytautas, he pointed to the logistics. I couldn't get that. I'm from Sweden. And he pointed with the red arrow to it, and then I was listening. And then he started waving and started talking about everything. I was like, did you say all about that about me, or just my name? I didn't get that.
Just your name.
Just my name. Okay, good. Yeah, it is. Okay. Anyway, so I'm from Sweden. I'm working for a company called Adform. It is by far not the first time in Lithuania. I'm here every second week, and I've been doing that for 2-3 years now. Vidas is also somewhere behind the, I know a few of you here. Always enjoying a lot to be here, but it's the first time in Kaunas, and I sense there is a little bit of a difference. I asked in the office here which one is the best basketball team, Kaunas or Vilnius, and it started a debate between. It was quite a. I just wanted to ask. So apparently there is a lot of basketball. And then I asked how many NBA players there are in Lithuania playing in NBA, and he couldn't answer. We got one in Sweden, so it's a big thing for us. So there it is. Just wanted to check a little bit. How many are students in here? Would you say you're students? Yeah. And how many of you in here are working in kind of your own software, small little business? There's you, that's small, yeah. And the rest working in little bigger companies, maybe? Anyone from IBM? I always need to ask that. I'm an old IBMer myself, so before I start criticizing me, IBM too much. No IBMer, good. Good. Any Americans in here? Anyone? No? No Americans? No. Any foreigners at all? No? Only Lithuanian? Yeah. Okay, good. There it is. I'm a software developer myself, but I will just see if this works. See, it does. Yeah. So here I am, and I want to talk about the strategy of no strategy is the best strategy. Any one of you that were in the login conference? You were. Did you visit the presentation I did there? No. Good. So no one heard this before. Because I can't really recall what I said, so then it's always good. So no one has heard me, seen me before, so this is a fresh, new experience, right? Good, yeah. I have a slide deck, but as you can hear, sometimes I go a little bit off track, but it's just improvisation, as it's called. So anyway, I would claim, and I am an old, not that old, but I've been doing some programming myself back in the good old days, where we did Turbo Pascal and Smalltalk. Students, you don't know what that is, but some of the guys that are maybe a little bit older, Turbo Pascal was really fancy because you could do menus in there and graphics instead of DOS prompts. And Smalltalk was one of the first, and purely the object-oriented language. And what's also quite, let's see here, this one, this is a classic waterfall method, and I will get back to that a little bit later in my presentation, where you start in one end and you end up very much later in the bottom, if you're lucky, to compare to and be referenced to the Agile method. So I will talk a little bit about the general things about strategy of no strategy in general by making breakthrough ideas. Then I will tie it up a little bit and connect it to the Agile. Yeah. So let's see here. I have my notes on this little thing. Interesting. Oh, there you go. Yeah. I'll make it a little bit bigger, like that. Okay. So. This is also tied up to waterfall methods and software development life cycle. That was the hot topic back in, 20 years ago or something like that, when I was active. And I actually found this. This is old. How many of you seen this joke before? Oh, it wasn't that old. Okay. It is an old joke. I had it on my door that I worked for IBM as a software developer, and I think it's quite descriptive for the software development lifecycle that we did back then. Waterfall method. This is what's happened, and I really like the one how the customer was billed. That's what we charged for it, and how the project was documented over here. So and how it was supported also. We basically don't support that, and all it needed was this. Yeah. I mean, it's still a valid thing, but back then it was really valid. Because in this waterfall method, which again I will get back to a little bit later, that this was the problem. This was not only a joke, it described the matter of the fact. Welcome. There are seats down here, I think. This one is a little bit in the way. What's your name in the pink shirt there? Aivoras. Yeah. You're kind of, now you're gone. Now you can't see me all the time. Oh, you can see me. Okay. You can hear me. Yeah. Are you listening also? Yeah, good. I will pick on someone. I will get back to you, okay? So stay sharp. Oh. Welcome. Oh, some girls. Yeah, good. Oh, welcome. Good. You seated? Okay. Yeah, good. I'm Matt's person. I've started, so it's okay. Anyway, the best strategy, and I mean, now we're talking about creating breakthrough ideas. A matter of listening to these guys that have break it through. They are trillions of millions of dollars they've earned. All these successes that we are passionate about reading about. We love to hear them, those stories. And in that, just to try to get new things, breakthrough ideas in a large scale or in a small scale. And this is something over my years this is something that has been, of course, fascinating. Of course, something you always try to strive for. Lately, I would say, coming into some insights that all these things with planning, strategy, all the execution of that, and it hasn't worked. So in this, and what I want to talk about is that the fact that the strategy of no strategy is actually the best strategy. So starting in one end, I would claim that the world is unpredictable. And you can start in a very large scale in the essence of this is an asteroid, 2012 DA14. Anyone heard of it? No, neither did I before I did some research. This thing almost killed us. It passed by, there's no asteroid that's passed closer to Earth than this one. And if one of these rams into the Earth, well, everyone's not going to die at the same time. Starting in a positive end, right? Talking about death and we're all going to die. But anyway, that was close. It will affect the Earth enormously. It was discovered by an amateur. And when it was discovered, it has passed, and it was 4.3 million kilometers away from Earth when this amateur discovered it. And then NASA and everyone else just said, oh yeah, right, it is there. So, I mean, starting in one end, yes, the world is unpredictable. We know that. But if we net that down to business, what's weird, I would say that the way to interpret that into, or way to put it into to business is that the rules are constantly changing. And it is. And there are many examples of that, where you look upon that the rules are constantly changing. And what I would say also that we're told that success is based upon true strategies and execute on the strategies. But the fact is that rules are constantly changing. And if you look upon a few examples of that, the rules are constantly changing. Absolute Vodka, taking something that everyone kind of refers to. You know the Swedish brand Absolute Vodka. That was hovering around fairly small volumes, and then made it through into US, got a huge success in New York, and then spread around, and now it is one of the largest, if not the largest, vodka brand in the world. And it was not that it was a superior product, it was a marketing thing. Everyone can agree upon that. They did the smart thing in the marketing thing. So if you ask Michael Rowe, who was the marketing manager at that point, behind that, and this is a few years ago. So in the beginning he had some smart answers to why this happened, what they did, what they thought about. But more and more over the years he's come into the situation where his answer is, I don't know. I've tried it again. He's been hired for other brands, tried to mimic it, tried to do it again, but failed. So at this point, he said, we were there. We were lucky. We were there at the right point, at the right time, with the right message, and then it took off. We were lucky. And I would claim that that is, for every of these huge successes, breakthrough ideas, at some point someone got lucky. At some point someone met someone, or they were by coincidence found out certain things, or were in the right spot at the right time. Because the rules are constantly changing, and I would even say that it's pure luck. Maybe it's a little bit over-exaggeration, but it's a matter, you can look upon that. If you listen to these guys that have made big things, at one point they would say they got lucky or it was a coincidence. There's the reversed way of looking at it also, and to confirm that the rules are constantly changing. Nokia, we all know Nokia case. It's been quite often referred to. They were at the peak when they were the best. They had the global distribution. There were no one questioning. They had all the right people. They know everything about mobiles. They were in the entire market. Experts were writing saying that Nokia will be at this peak for 10 years, and then they missed the mobile, the smartphone thing. Was that because they were stupid, arrogant, or were they just the fact that the rules are constantly changing and they missed that train? I would say they're not stupid. They had all the knowledge. Experts who couldn't see this happening, and also, when we look at Apple and their success of it, experts didn't know that either. They were writing that Apple will never make it. This was a distribution of mobile phones. It's not possible. They will never make it through this. And they did. So experts is not to rely on either, because the rules are constantly changing and it's impossible to foresee. Nokia were not stupid. They just missed it because the rules are constantly changing. Yeah? So when I say that you cannot repeat success, I mean, you can argue, yes, there are brands, but in order to do new innovative stuff. One interesting fact is also that Stephen King, many of you know Stephen King, the author, it's books, horror things, yeah, right? Stephen King's. He's written 49 novels. All of them have been New York Times bestseller. That lists the official bestseller list. But he did a trial, and he wrote 4 books under a pseudonym, Richard Bachman. He took the same recipe. I mean, if you read one of Stephen King's books, you kind of read them all. If you read more than 2 or 3 of them, you realize that this is just the same recipe. All the things coming back, and hard to mix them up, etc. But again, so he did that under a pseudonym, and that, exactly the same book, didn't make it at all until someone discovered and found out that it was Stephen King's pseudonym. Then it made it to the top. So of course, brand is something where you can repeat the success, like Stephen King, but it's repeating something over and over again. It's not a breakthrough idea to write another Stephen King book. He's just managed to get up there in a successful concept, which is brand is strong. So inventing new things, you have to take into consideration that the rules are constantly changing. And if there were, you can also twist it. I'm trying to argue, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I'm trying to argue for it again, that if the fact that the rules are constantly changing and it is luck, but if there were a recipe for success, well, then we wouldn't sit here, right? Then we all would be millionaires. If we all could, and if there were a recipe, a strategy for how to become a millionaire, then we would all do it, right? But it doesn't work that way. There could be, for a limited period of time, there could be a window of opportunity, as it's called. Here's a window of opportunity. One example is, back 10 years ago, perhaps, the one quite good recipe for success were to go to a law firm in the US. Just get your grades good enough, go into the law school, get out of law school, get into a lawyer firm, start as junior, just ensure you don't have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or any life at all. Just work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and then you become a senior and junior partner, and then you're home safe. That was a recipe that worked. But again, for a long period of time or a little bit longer period of time, that window is closed. As it is today, that's not a recipe for success anymore. As a matter of fact, if you go out of law school today in US, hard to get a job at all because the internet is taking over the services. There's supply. There's too many people that want to do that. And nowadays you don't go to partners. There are different grades, which means that you work equally hard, but you don't get paid that much. So it adjusts because the rules are constantly changing. I think you're getting it, right? Even though they came late. And are you twittering about this? No, you're just checking emails. Yeah, I was not supposed to pick on you. I was supposed to pick on... See, you can't see me all the time, right? If I stand in the middle, okay. Is this disturbing or is it... Because I can't... anyway. He saved you. They're over there. Yeah, right. So, if you're twittering, say something positive. Yeah, say something positive. Yeah. Anyone tweeting? Anyone on Twitter? Are you? Right. Have you started? No, you haven't. No. Oh, you're going to... Yeah. You're good looking. Yeah, you got scarves and everything, yeah. Yeah. Look smarter than the others, but... yeah, don't tell them. Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. Where were we? Okay. So if I say that success is pure luck, it's a little bit over-exaggerated. But okay, it's a coincidence. It's something like that. But why is it that we're sitting and listen to these master entrepreneurs, rich people, about why do we sit there and trying to figure out the recipe? What did they do? How do I take this back home? I want to do that also. I'm going to start a website where people can meet up. You know, singles. You know, a dating site. Maybe not the most innovative idea at this point, but you know, we're trying to do that all the time. So let's look at one thing, well, a slightly different thing. This, rock, paper, scissors. Everyone knows that? Yeah. What's your name? Jolanta. Good. May I interrupt you in your mailing and chatting and those things? Could you just, you know this game? Yes. Yeah. If I were, where's Agne? You there? Good. Do you have any money? Like just a 10. Hi, Vidas. How are you doing? Good. You don't? 200 liters. Oh, that's too much. Do you have 10 liters? What's the interest? You have 10 liters. Oh, look at that. That's good. Vidas will pay you later. Yeah. That's 10 liters. Good. You're still here. Yeah, good. See, let's put that. Let's do a bet, and you can't lose. We'll put 10 liters on the table there, and rock, paper, scissors. You know, you need to think now. Are you good at this? More or less. Are you? Is there anyone in here that would claim they're good at this? Because then we can. I mean, more or less. It's not very self-confident, you know. Anyone that claim that they're good? Sorry, you can go and sit down. Thank you, Jolanta. It's your 10 liters also. What's your name? Carlos. Oh, good, Carlos.
Close enough.
What was that? Carolis. Carolis. There you have it. Carolis. Okay, you're good at this. Perfect. Because I'm really good. Yeah. Okay. You read some strategies about this?
Yeah, a little.
A little. Okay. Good. This is perfect. Okay, I got a strategy also. So think of your strategy now, okay? Should we do it best of 3 or just 1? Best of 3? On 3?
Yeah.
Not after 3, on 3. This will take some time, yeah, right? Anyway, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. Oh, you do scissor, paper, doll, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Rook is for beginners, as we know. Yeah, okay. So it's 1, okay. See? It's like the American Cup sailing, right? Did you follow? Anyway, it's the last one. It was yesterday. That was today. Oh. You get your 10 liters back. But Carlos, it's impressive. It's impressive how you, and now sorry, now I'm going to pick on you a little bit. It's impressive that you actually have a strategy for something that's completely random. It's interesting, because we want it. I wanted to win those 10 liters. I was thinking, what will he do? What would I do? Let's take the... And I said, the funny thing is, you've read the strategy. You've read this book. Now, this is not prepared. I promise you. Carlos, you're best. I love you that you're up here. Good. There are official strategy book for rock, paper, scissors. This thick. It's about you. And as I said there is a paper doll, which is scissor, paper, which means that then cut, paper. That's one strategy. Rock is for beginners or rookies. Rock is for rookies. Rock is for rookies. It's hard to say. Rock for beginners. Beginner starts with a rock. You shouldn't do that. But on the other hand, a paper scissor doll will lose against that. How does that work? Well then, how can it be that we want to have a strategy for something that's completely random? Because we want to. Exactly, you can tweet about that. There is a world championship, it's something that's completely random. You cannot be good at this. Sorry to say, you cannot be good at this. It's only luck. But we want to. We want to have strategy. We want some structure in order. We want to see how things are. We want to figure out how this trillionaire driving out in an extremely big car, we want to understand the strategy. That's a part built into us. I know it myself. I mean, that's really what we want. So, let's see more about this. That was good. Oh, it crashed. Have you updated to the iOS 7? Anyone? Yeah, right. You like Androids? Yes, you're software developers. You're not a bunch of marketing guys. You do hardcore. There will be a DOS-based Nokia coming out soon, which is going to be for old people like me, where you can do C:. Yeah. Good. There is well, just a little bit of a sidetrack. There is, however, how many are single in here? You don't dare to raise your hand. I understand that, but okay, it's no importance. I mean, we can skip that question if it's hard. Is this a married couple, whatever? There's no one single in here. Oh, there's two. Good of you. Thank you for coming. Not coming out, but being official with your single status. Yeah, maybe. This is not a hunting ground. This is a conference. I can see that. But anyway, in love, we are okay with having quite a random. I would say, someone says that, well, the most important decision you do is when you select your partner. Or in my case, I couldn't select, I had to take the one that wanted me. So, but I'm not bitter in that sense. But anyway, it is, then we can accept randomness. Love is random. That's beautiful. In a bar, you can go in and I mean, it's random. And it's more or less the most important decision you take. And we don't have any strategy, or very little strategy, and we accept randomness. A little bit of a sidetrack, but anyway. So, we do want order, we want to understand the strategy. But if you then build that into that the rules are constantly changing, there is an unmatch here. There's something that doesn't fit. When I do a 5-year plan of a project or whatever, in how we're going to reach the breakthrough ID, well, it's quite a given that in 5 years things will be changing. So that won't work. So what do? What is the recipe for this then? Are we just going to walk around like happy faces and see when it falls over you? No, of course not. The recipe is to expose yourself for coincidence. Intersections is another fancy word. How you achieve yourself or expose yourself for intersections and coincidence. And that's why these guys that are entrepreneurs, typically, you see in front of you the entrepreneurs or the guys that are successful. They are outspoken. They are all over. They are energetic. They work like hell. and they're talking to everyone and whatever. I met an entrepreneur down in my community or neighborhood where I live, and he said, "Yeah, great. I think there is. He's hyper. He's all over." And he sent a mail to me and said, I think it's a great idea. I think there's a lot of people in this neighborhood that has a lot of great ideas. Let's gather, I don't know where, but somewhere, and everyone can present 5 minutes a good idea. What do you think? And I was just, maybe I wait a little bit with that email, but okay, so I haven't replied yet, and it's 2 days ago, and he's still waiting, like this. That's an entrepreneur in his essence, because constantly exposing themselves for coincidence and intersections. So, we can learn from that. And I'm getting into that. How can a small company or a larger company then take lessons of that and get into what would be called an innovation process? But I would say this is to expose yourself for coincidence. That's where things are grown. It is not a 5-year plan or a strategy. It's not even a 1-year plan. In Adform, where we work, we kind of came up with things are moving that fast, so we are just working in 6 months rhythms. There's no need to have a budget for 12 months because I happen to be the CFO also, among other things. And we don't know. In 12 months' time, I don't have a clue. Well, I can have an ambition. I can basically know where we are. But sitting and doing detailed revenue forecasts for December next year, it doesn't work. So we do 6 months. We've scrapped budget. We just do some forecast. We're looking for that. So intersections. And then try out new things. Maybe if you are out for innovative stuff and being that, maybe you shouldn't sit here. Maybe you should go to a knitting conference. That's perhaps to take it too far, but anyway, to expose yourself and trying out new things. We call it putting our bets. And in Adform, we've come to that, just getting a terminology around this. And that we are exposing ourselves for that. We do put our bets, which means that we have a term for it, which we also then can accept failure. Because in a strategy, long-term strategy, failures is just then if things doesn't go as it planned, it's a failure. But if you work more after this principle, which is then tying in a little bit more to agile development that I will come to in a moment, then it's okay to fail. We put our bet, didn't work. Okay, then we'll go on to the next one. If you have that and building that into it. It is not easy, and I'm getting to that a little bit later, in a big company, and especially like IBM that I worked for. Yeah, right. Putting our bets, it's not what you do. Mats, you execute on the plan. Yeah, but what if the plan is wrong? Mats, stop asking those questions. There is no need to question the plan. A plan is a plan. Oh yeah, you smart little asshole. I didn't tell him that. I didn't do that. But I felt for it. In IBM, it's power and control, execution, do the plan. And whoever wrote the plan can never be questioned. But the fact is that sometimes I was asked to jump like 3 and 3 meter 50. And when I tried to point that out, that's the world record and no one's jumping higher than 2.5, I was negative and I wasn't part of the solution. And the plan is the plan, start executing. So of course it is hard in one company like that. But what also IBM is suffering from is that they don't have any innovation. There is no innovation, it's killed. Apple, on the other hand, are able to do that. Apple have like 90% of their things doesn't come out. They have a failure rate of 90%. They have a process which is big. They do 10 things that they test and they want to try it out, and they do that all of the about 90% of it will never make it to the market. Putting their bets, trying to evaluate. So let's see. There are more examples of this where you can see that coincidence and putting bets. Spotify, you know Spotify, music, yeah? Daniel Ek, Danielas Ekas, would it be in Lithuania, I think. Danielas Ekas, yeah? He doesn't have 10, 15 years of experience in the music industry, no. He has not been in that at all. He didn't have any experience at all in that industry, but he came across these guys that do BitTorrent, download big files, Pirate Bay stuffs and all those, and figured out that that could be good for music. And then he tried it out in Sweden, and it turned out to be a success. And then they just kept on going. And I'm getting back to that, what they did, but they managed to prove it that it worked. And then, as I'll say later on, they will go all in, which they did. Spotify is going all in, to put it mildly. They are all over. They are running negative, and now he's talking like a priest preached that he's changing the entire music industry, and maybe he is. But that wasn't his mission 5 years ago. This is something that's been built up. Rovio, Angry Bird? Yeah, they do. I happen to work with the chairman of the board in that company, but he's a complete crazy guy, but he's from Finland. But that's another story. I can take that over a beer. But the Rovio, the Angry Bird, that was the 56th game they came out with. It wasn't the first one. They did 55 attempts that no one heard of. Then the 56th. And if you ask them, did you expect this to be a hit? I mean, for God's sake, it's a bird that you shoot the things. I mean, no one could expect that. But what they do is that no one can argue against that. They go all in. I know I read an article. They're not going to open 1 or 10 or 100 amusement parks in China. They're going to open 1,000 amusement parks. And I know the chairman of the board there, I can hear him saying, do you know how many people there are in China? 1,000 amusement parks. That's what we're going to open. When I worked in another company, it was in a financial software industry thing. He was in the same level there. And he had a classic start of, let's keep this in this room. It's a little bit confidential, but okay. But he had an option program. And he wanted to launch that, so he gathered, we were not more than 50 people or something. And he started off saying, I'm going to make you brutally rich. I thought that was a good start. That's a good start. We're going to get bigger than Microsoft. Well, then it folded again a little bit, right? I think my options could have been worth up to 5,000 litas if we were. But if that company would have been greater than Microsoft, then I would be rich. But that didn't happen. So, but anyway, he's now owning 85% of Rovio. So he's a lucky guy. Anyway, am I sounding bitter? A little bit, right? Can you still see me? Yeah. Are you listening? Yeah, right. And you're tweeting. What did you write? About the road? No, I told you. I told you it was a secret. What did you write?
I haven't actually posted it yet.
No, good. Okay. Can I have 10? Agnes, the 100 litas, 200 litas. He's a journalist. We can pay him. That's right. They write whatever you want for money. No, this got sidetracked. Okay, good. What's your name? Arunas. I'm getting after you, Arunas. Anyway, cool. Come and get me. I need to tell another story. I like stories. Just about this coincidence, luck, or whatever it is. Pfizer, you know the medical company Pfizer, in 1986, they were a relatively small American pharmaceutical company. They start speculating in that if you can block an enzyme called, and now I read in, PDE5, and that would relieve, if you have angina, a form of chest pains, it clogs your veins or something like that. They were speculating in an enzyme that could fix that. And they believed in it, and they start doing. And you know, the medicine industry, they test things on mice, one mouse, many mice, yeah? And then monkeys, students, people, in that order. That's how they test it, right? So there are students like, no, that didn't work. Okay, so then we stopped that. Anyway, so they started testing this, and they came through, and that passed. And then they had it out, and then half of them get placebo, and half of them get and they noticed that doesn't often happen, or they would say never happens, that the test guys gets back to them and say, yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, could I have some more? And they were surprised. It never happens. I mean, we wanted you to test that part, and now you want more. Need to figure out why. And as it says in the report, they could conclude that it was only men, typically middle-aged men, that were asking for more, and they suffered of the by-effect was sustainable erection. You don't need to quit Twitter about that, thank you. This is a story just. So sustainable erection, that's what we know as Viagra today. So Pfizer went from a small, medium pharmaceutical Midwest US company to one of the largest in the world with the best-selling medical drug there is, Viagra. And it was not a 5-year plan. And in medical, it is definitely to try out things on a long cycle, as you might know. But that was just a coincidence. Viagra, clogging their veins. Scrap that, for God's sake. The students didn't react on it, on the other hand. It was just middle-aged in the next phase. I don't know why. Anyway, sometimes I go off track. Yep. So, try out new things. Put yourself in the situation where you expose yourself for intersections and coincidence. Let's look at something else that is related to this, as I see it. So here's 5 cards. If every one of you select one of them, just one of them, right? That's easy enough, isn't it? Have you decided? Oh, you have, okay. Was it hard? No, it was quite an easy process, wasn't it? Okay, so look at this one then, and remember which one it was. And I would say, I can remove that. Yeah, the one you're thinking of. Did I? No. Is it still there?
This number, yes.
Yeah, your card is gone. Yes. Yeah, magic, right? You don't need to be smart. Journalist, if I want you to, Arunas, if I want you to speak, I will ask you, okay? We need to keep them a little bit short, everyone. Yeah, we're having a very nice discussion here. Yes. It's gone, right? Yes. Yeah. Magic.
Not really.
No, you're a smart girl. So I mean, it is. I work at a casino. You work in a casino, so you can see that the trick is that all these cards, there is none of them there. You saw that immediately. You're at the casino, okay. So, what would I mean by this simple example? Not that I'm a magician in any sense. It's what I would say, get the eyes off the ball. And that's what we suffer from in many of our companies where we're working. We're stuck in the processes. We're stuck in whatever development process it is. It's a long term, whatever it is, and we are transactionals. I mean, I don't know if you've reflected of that. How much time do we spend on emails, sending back and forth? We are stuck in our transactions, in our daily routines, in our daily works. And how do we expose ourselves for intersections or coincidence with that? Well, the trick is to get the eyes off the ball, to try to expand your sight. And this is not easy. This is the trick. Because if you can, and you're aware of it, but the start is to be aware of it, that how do you get your eyes off the ball? Get and see the penguin passing by. This is, I don't know, again, I'm love to ask questions, but since there are so many couples in here, or not couples, but people are married, or having boyfriends and girlfriends, how many have kids? See, yeah? I have 2 kids also. They don't look like this, really, but nowadays, when we're sitting in front of the TV, we're 4 people in my family. Everyone is sitting with their mobile like this. And a laptop. Exactly. Did I tell you? Okay. I'm going to get friendly now. That was a good comment. And a laptop, which I get back to also a little bit later. But, so, get the eyes off the ball. See the penguin, because it might pass by. Because it's all constantly changing, and it's a matter of grasping or getting the opportunities when they occur. Yeah. So, one thing that I think we are focused on in ad form is to create a drive, and this starts at the top. If it's not okay of management that people are failing, if it's not okay that we test out new things, if the management are not placing their bets and be honest about that we're trying this, we will see. We don't have a long-term strategy. No, we don't have a perfect organization for this. No, we don't know. how many is going to work with this in 2 years' time or a half year's time. We're testing it. We will see. Let's do it together. If they don't do that, well then, no one else is going to do it in the company. So I think I'm not going to ask any questions around here, but I think some of you are nodding and thinking, yeah, right. The company that I'm working in is not really a company where we put our bets, that we expose ourselves for intersections or expose ourselves for coincidence. And we do not get our hands or eyes off the ball. We're missing the penguin. This is creating drive. And that's another long speech I can give about how do you create that? What about leadership? What does it take for leaders to create drive? What about bonuses? Does it work or not? Well, for those of you that, well, there's not too many adformers in here, but you know what our point is there, that bonuses doesn't work. I can give you a hint about a book, a Swedish guy called Frans Johansson. He lives in New York. He wrote a book about drive that takes up that. I said it is 220 pages why I left IBM. It's a little bit American-oriented, but it takes up this what creates people's drive. And he's completely smashing bonuses as being something that drives people or creates drive. But as I said, in the sake of time, that's another little bit another story. But I'm passionate about this. Values. How many of you, let's do like this. How many have written values in your company? Someone? You know, I don't have to ask questions, Brad. We have these values. Again, IBM example. I was a middle manager in IBM, and I got a 23 long pages PowerPoint with the title, "Here are new core values, please distribute to your team." And the top value that's written down on that, clients first. And there is a reason why IBM says clients first in their top-down approach of core values. It's not a core value. It's not something that we call DNA of the companies because they want it to be that way. Because in IBM, it's not clients first. It is shareholder value, controlled. Then it is clients, and then it's employees. But why do they do? It's a reason for it. It's a reason why you have this type of value. In this house, we don't kill people. There is a reason why you say that. And everyone reads in it. It's because someone got killed. So values are, I don't like that. I don't like having management tell people what's our core values. It's far much more interesting to talk about norms. What is the norm in the company? Which means what do we do without thinking? A norm is, basic norm is breathing. You do that without thinking. Yeah. And we talk about the DNA of the company, which is more interesting to talk about a company's DNA, because then you kind of put into that sentence that this is not something we change by just sending a new PowerPoint and please distribute. That's what's interesting. What's in the DNA of a company? And if the DNA of the company is that you're innovative, if it's in the DNA that you're allowed to do mistakes, that you're allowed to put your bets, that you're allowed to say, I can do that, I can test that, let's try it, that you collectively can do that. But it starts at the top. Yeah. Arunas, makes it sense? It does? Yes. Okay. Am I going okay? Yes. Okay, thank you. I wouldn't dare to say. I have 3 years. Oh, 3 yeses. I thought she's from a casino in Kaunas, and she says, you got 3 years. What are you going to do with me in 3 years? I got 3 seconds to answer. Okay. 3 yeses. Good. 3 years. I got 3 years. Well, anyway, sometimes I get distracted. So, oh, that was a big site. Is it getting boring? Should I talk faster? Anyway, so now, this is kind of where, as I said, over the years, this has at least come to an insight for me. Maybe it's obvious for you, but for me it is an insight that this is what creates and drives a company like Adform or any other company towards a better innovation process. By the way, the innovation is not a process, it's about what I've said here. Be able to put your bets, and then expose yourself for those coincidences. The waterfall method that I talked about earlier is definitely not suited for that, but agile development is. So trying to tie into that, it's a requirement. In the software industry, if we want to develop something that we do believe can be a breakthrough idea or solve a problem, whatever it is a requirement that agile development is underneath there. Waterfall method will never solve that. When I worked at IBM, I was a junior developer, came in there, and this guy, the project manager, he was running the first version of Microsoft Project. I don't think they ever got that product to work properly, but back then it was a buggy version and a very, very complicated thing, but he was ambitious, so he put every task into Microsoft Project, and he asked all the developers about estimates in all this waterfall method theory, or method. And I saw the opportunity to be junior. Why don't I kind of give me a little bit of a slack, and then I can overperform like hell? So I kind of get things that I thought would take a day, I said a month. Because that tees up, even if I got 2 days, I will over-exceed. I will be the king of the pops here. So I did that for all of it, and it took a week for him to get everything into Microsoft Project. And he came back and said, Mats, I read it. You're on the critical path on everything. You have delayed the project with 2 years. Could you look into your estimates again? Yeah, well, okay, I'll do that. So then I just came back, scrapped it to 1 or 2 days, get back, and they were back on track again. And I didn't win on that. He just looked at me, are you crazy? Have you any control of what you want to do? Now you said this long, now this big. I was on a little bit wrong path there. But again, all the projects were done like this. We release things every second year, approximately. And that doesn't work in the world we're living in, and given what I said earlier also. So agile development is definitely a prerequisite for this. So when you do the Scrum, every release, every sprint you do, every second week, yeah, of course, that can't be completely chaos, and that you do that every sprint is a new bet. Everyone does. Of course, there has to be a little bit of plan. But I question that, as it says in the manifesto for Agile, that you should review your plans every year. I think that's too long. Sitting now in ad form and knowing what we're going to develop in a years from now. We don't do that. We don't spend time on that. We have a 6-month cycle again, themes what we develop, and then of course the sprints are supporting that. So as I said, you can't do everything at the same time. You cannot do, testing everything. Every sprint is a new bet. No, you can't. There must be some plan in this. But the overall part of it must be that you're trying out things. And Agile is, and the way you're going to hear more about later on, is the constant feedback, the fast iteration, and so on. Yep. And then I asked marketing department. I think I've got really nice slides. I haven't done them myself, but Justina, she's a very good marketing person, and she done that. And I wanted to get a picture which says Adform and Agile in the same picture, and she gave me this. And I don't get it, really, but I haven't told her. Well, the shoelaces, is anyone smarter than I am? Vidas, you're a smart guy. Why is there shoelaces that are tied together in Agile? Because you need to go small steps, or? But I don't know. I know what you're thinking. I'm here to present. I'm not here to ask what my slides means, right? So no, that's okay. It's a nice picture. No. Do you see that? No. I'll give you 3 a year. I'll give you 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So. Just some shameless promotion about Adform then. What do? We're we're doing online advertising, technology platform for online advertising. So we are putting our bets into certain buckets where we want to be. And one is this. It's an ad pages thing. This is an example also that the rules are constantly changing and we don't know. We developed this 2 years ago and thought that would be a killer. Nothing happened. We had zero. There was no one. Because we were talking to advertisers and they were not, maybe good to have the catalog that you can browse within a banner, well, maybe not. Didn't happen anything. It was about to go in the trash bin. Then we start talking to publishers, which means the publishers, the media. Then it's suddenly, in Norway, that's the greatest thing on earth. We need to have that many of those there. And we charge like hell for it, and suddenly this is a bestseller of ours in Norway. Did we see that? Was it part of a strategy? No. This was also something that was developed in one of our hackathon, or the FedEx days. Isn't that a nice story about FedEx? You know FedEx days? You develop whatever you want in 24 hours. FedEx came back and said, we don't appreciate that you're using FedEx name, so please remove that. Isn't that one of the most stupid things you can do? Right? How many have experienced this? Is there anyone in here that have FedEx days in your company? Yeah, you're not allowed to call them FedEx anymore. Remember that. I mean, it's so stupid. So now it's called hackathon instead. So we do hackathon days. So anyway, this was something developed there. Interesting, yeah. But it didn't take off, and we did. It's a polite zoom. It means that when you hover over it, it just zooms out a little bit. Holland. This is the shit in Holland. Dutch sites, if you don't have polite zoom, you're out of it. So this we sell like hell in Holland. Did we foresee that? Did we know it? No. But we exposed it. Then I would say in general, that's a lecture of itself. Mobile advertising, how will that work? No one knows. If there's anyone in here that would claim that they can say how advertising will work in mobile in 2 years from now, I would say you're lying. Because will it be in the app, or will it be just a browser thing? Will it be that you get the phone for free and it's commercial every time you're going to call? You have to look through a video first in 5 minutes, and then, at least I don't paying anything. No one knows. But we are for sure doing, and here we place a lot of bets. We have 200 formats and swiping things, and it's expanding, it's floating, and it's even moving like this, and it can even make sound and all of that. Which one is going to be the winner? I don't know. We don't know. But we're constantly doing it and trying to be out there, talking about it. And then also, who takes the decision about this? Clients or advertisers, or, mobile, but maybe we should do a billboard commercial instead or whatever. Anyway, that's another business that we're in. So that's a bet we're putting. You can move this, and, well, that's a game, I would say. It's not. We don't foresee that you can control the airplane, sitting in the airplane, connected on Norwegian's poor on-board internet, and then steer the airplane. It's a game. Yeah, but you got that. Then, final thing that we want to mention that of kind of interest in the industry that we're in, real-time bidding. Previously, or I would say up until for a few years ago, all online advertising were sold and handled exactly like offline. There were a media that met up with a media agency, they had lunch, and they decided about a 2 weeks campaign on certain media, and then the campaign started and ran based on our platform, and then ended, and then they checked how many clicks there were, how many viewed it, or how many leads were coming out of it, etc. Now, which this is electronic and it's web, it is just like the stock exchange. Now it's moving into real-time bidding, which means that when you're getting into a web page, the web page sends a message to us saying, here's a user, whatever we know about it, would you like to buy that placement, one exposure? And then we kind of look through, this is a cookie we recognize, could there be something of interest, is this within the media that we want to, and then we give an offer back and then decide who wins and then get the GIF picture or the banner sent over. So whatever can be made electronic will be made electronic. It's just a matter of time. That's the world we're living in. So this will be maybe in 2-3 years' time, 80% of all online advertising will be according to this. At least the way we can see it now. But we don't know. We invest a lot in this because this takes computer powers. Just some benchmarks. We do 1 billion exposures per day. We get 1 billion questions to our requests to our servers to show a banner. We do 5 reads, blah, 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 blah. But the interesting thing is, as I see it, is that if you look at this graph, this is how many requests we get per second if we want to buy that in real-time bidding, how much if we want to buy. So we get in average around a little bit over 100,000 per second. Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? We have 120 milliseconds response time, including latency, which means that the transfer of it. So it's impossible to do this from Europe to Australia because speed of light will not fix it. So we have to be in Europe. And we get about that. Out of those, we do search and look through about almost 8 terabytes of data. So 1 billion transactions writes data every day. 1 billion is added every day. And we search through about 1 terabyte of data for each of these and see if there's someone that we are looking for, a cookie that we recognize or a media or something that we're interested in. Out of those, we bid on about 20,000. That's the yellow one. And the green one, now the scale makes it almost flat. That's the one we win. So out of the 100,000, we win down here about 2,000-3,000. But that depends on our clients. During this hour, there were people trading. Depends on how narrow they put their requirements and what they want to buy, etc. This is a game-changing thing. This changed the industry. This changed the roles of it. How it's going to work completely in a year's time, we don't know. But we're putting our bets into it. Investing in servers, people. What else is there? People and servers. Then you can do everything, right? Yeah. And some food in between. Yeah. And some sleep. Yep. So, how much time is it? I'm almost there. 5 minutes. Penki, right? Correct. Only number I know. Penki, Isvikata. And Poike. You can do that on Twitter. Poike. That's perfect, isn't it? I mean, the word poike means perfect. Yes, thank you. So, that was it. The worlds are constantly changing. We're in an unpredictable world and we're all going to die. Any questions? When we going to die? You don't know. We don't know. Like the film American Beauty said, they say that this is the first day of the rest of your life. And that's true, except the day you die. That wasn't a good end. I need to end more cheerfully in this. Agne, do you have any... Was this okay? Brilliant, thank you. At least one thought it was brilliant. Any questions? Okay, I'm Matsonas Personas from Sweden. I thank you a lot. Thank you.
We thank you too. Some small gift from us.
Oh, it's a plate. Oh, it's my name on it also.
Yes.
Good. Look at this, big box.
And one small stand to put it.
Oh.
Yeah, you can somewhere over the fireplace, you know.
Definitely, I will do that. Definitely. Thanks a lot.
Send some photos.
I will do that. I will tweet and I will Facebook us about it. Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Na ką, trumpam vėl persijungiam į lietuvių kalbą. Po tokios šaunios prezentacijos dabar galim truputėlį palisėti ir atsigerti kavos. Vienas prašymas, nepamirškite pildyti feedback formų ir pastebėjimas, kad jas šiemet galima pildyti lengviau, tai yra jos yra ir elektroninės formos. Taip pat yra QR kodas ir nuoroda ant jūsų pakabukų. Taigi pildykit, nepamirškit pranešėjų, pasižymėkit, nepamirškit ir už tai laukia jūsų prizai.